Yes, it is live. Yes. So, welcome, bachon. Today, what we are going to talk about is a critical reasoning. So, verbal, when we talk about, is divided into two parts. The one is the VA part, which will talk about RC, para-summary, para-jumbles, and everything. And the second thing would be the CR part. Now, I teach both maths and verbal. So what I usually see in most of the batches is you have two groups of students. One group would be very good with the VA part, which is the RC, para-summary, para-jumbles and all, para-completion and everything. And the second part, the second type of, or the group of the students would be very good in the CR. So very clear demarcation you see when you're teaching them. The second thing is the students who are good in the CR are also good in the maths. Okay, and the people who are good in maths will not be good in the VA. So what we see is the people who are good in the CR will also be even in the maths section. Now, one more input I would be giving. I'm involved with the hiring of teachers. So when we are actually recruiting the verbal teachers, what we see is the teachers who are very good in the RC will always say that, sir, CR we wouldn't be able to take. And the people who would be recruited for the CR part, let's say if they are very good in the CR, they will say they are not good in the RC, so some other teacher who should be taking it. Now, even when we see as a part of an experience, maths teachers are very good in teaching CR. Okay, so usually what happens in many of the education companies is that the people, whenever CR is being asked to handle, usually maths teachers with some kind of a verbal understanding are usually asked to handle the CR. CR is much more analytical in nature. Okay, very close to maths. So you understand of all these inputs that कोई एक clear demarcation है दोनों के skill sets में. Now in the skill set of when we are talking about CR, it will need much more analytical skill sets. Same kind of skill set which you need in the maths. So many students have joined. So I would assume every of the student to be having some basic understanding of maths and the CR, so they would be able to understand what exactly I'm saying. You can keep on posting your questions in chat. Spamming bhi karo, lekin even you can keep on asking questions. So many people have joined. Thanks for joining. Okay. Now, let me tell you what exactly we see the similarities in. What are the similarities which you see in maths as well as the CR? The first aspect is the logical structure and the rules. The logical nature of both the things. Now, in both the things, what we see is you will see a sequence of logic. For example, let's say if I'm talking about the CR part, CR will have an argument, premise, and an argument to conclusion, and in that journey, they would be using all kind of premises. They would be using all kind of assumptions to reach the conclusion. So there is a very logical structure and rules to it. Same way in maths. So maths, I don't try to tell you that there is a logical sequence of each and every step. You do maths and you understand that aspect. So first important similarity is the logical structure and the rules. The second thing is the pattern recognitions. In both CR and maths, actually the most important thing is how you understand the pattern of it, how you understand the type of questions and how to handle it. For example, in the CR, the most important question is the assumption-based questions. Now, in the assumption-based question, the point, if you are a layman, if students are not able to understand what an assumption is, in the critical reasoning, you have an argument. Okay, the author makes an argument, and author carries that argument to a particular conclusion. Now, in reaching that conclusion, they will use many assumptions, they will use many premises. Premises means facts, okay? They will use many kind of proof to reach that kind of a conclusion. So, in pattern recognition, when we are talking about, you must be very clear in understanding that whether it is a strengthening question, weakening question, and in the CR there is a different type of questions like strengthening, the weakening thing, and basically it means strengthening or weakening the assumption in the argument. Now in that, it's very important to understand what kind of pattern you are handling and how to handle it. For example, I'll give an example to you. If you're handling a strengthening based question, what exactly it would mean is you have to identify the assumption in an argument and then you have to weaken or strengthen the assumption into it. So basically the first step would be to break the whole argument into different parts. Okay. So the third important thing, very important similarity between the two things is the analytical nature of the whole thing. Analytical, basically take it in this way. I'll not try to use I would say the bigger words, rather मैं आपको थोड़े easy words में बोलता हूँ. Analytical, when I say nature, what I'm actually trying to talk about is actually the whole thing has to be broken down into manageable small parts and you have to use logic to answer it. ऐसे देखो उसे, okay? I understand bigger words थोड़ा सा you wouldn't be able to relate much to it. So try to understand in this way कि argument, maths में हम क्या करते हैं? Maths में we take the whole thing, whether it is a quadratic, whether it is a sequence series, whether it is permutation, probability, we divide the whole thing into simpler, manageable. So we divide the whole thing into simpler and manageable part, and then we apply rule or logic to solve it. That's what we do in maths. The same thing actually we do in CR. In CR, there will be an argument. Author बहुत चीज़ें बोलेगा, हज़ारों चीज़ें बोलेगा. Okay, उसमें वो बोलते हुए एक कंक्लूजन को रीच करेगा और उस कंक्लूजन को रीच करने के लिए वो काफ़ी एजम्पशंस करेगा और काफ़ी चीज़ें वो प्रूफ देगा. फॉर एग्जांपल वो मान लेते हैं कि कोई ये कह रहा है कि इंडिया इज़ ए very talented country or a very educated country. So they will give fact. Fact means the literacy level of India is, let's say, 90%. I'm just giving an example. And he will also assume many things. The assumption might be religion based. That Hindus or Muslims, all people have high literacy and that's why they are educated and that's why there is a high education level in the India. So what the point I'm trying to make is we are carrying the argument into a conclusion using an assumption and thing. And so in the maths, the same way what we do is, as I told you, we make into a manageable small parts and then we solve it by using rules and the logic. In CR, what we do is we see an argument, we divide the whole argument into assumptions, premises, inferences, conclusions and everything, and then we start hitting an element of the part of the CR on the basis of the question asked. I'll give an example to you. Let's say assumption based question and strengthening the assumption है या strengthening the conclusion question है, which is very common in the CR thing. Now when we are looking at when we are solving a strengthening or the weakening thing, what exactly we have to do is we actually have to break the whole argument into simpler, manageable part, just like in maths, and then we apply logic to it. Let's say strengthening if I'm talking about the author talking about strengthening the conclusion, we actually are strengthening the assumption. So what we do is we divide the whole argument into assumption, premise, conclusion, inferences and everything, and then we pick the assumption and start using the point which is strengthening or weakening that particular part of the argument. So the same just like in maths. तो हमने break किया और फिर उस break जो भी broken part है हमने उसे logic use किया और rationality use करी या rules use करे उसे solution करने के लिए. So maths भी हम same तरह से ही करते हैं. तो मेरा point simple सा ये है इस total बात रखने का. उसका meaning basically ये है कि जो स्किल सेट्स हैं वो सेम हैं. अब आप एक क्वेश्चन मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं इस समय कि इससे हमें फ़ायदा क्या है. What exactly are we getting benefited if we know that CR is analytical based? I'll come to it. Rather than before moving into it, मैं अपना पिछला पार्ट पूरा कर लेता हूँ कि सिमिलैरिटीज़ क्या क्या हैं. तो सिमिलैरिटीज़ में पहला मैंने क्या आपको बताया कि फर्स्ट पहला मैंने क्या बताया सब बच्चों को. द फर्स्ट थिंग इज़ logical nature of the both the things and the rules. Logical nature and the rules. The second thing, most important thing, is the pattern recognition. Okay, the pattern recognition दोनों में होता है. Okay. Third thing which I talked about was the analytical nature, the analytical thinking you need. Analytical thinking means breaking the whole thing into manageable small parts and then using rules or logic to solve it. Any other thing you can talk about? आपको कोई और सिमिलरिटी दिखती है? मैं मानता हूँ कि सबको पता है कि CR और मैथ्स क्या है. तो any other similarity you would be able to see? So I would like everyone to contribute. Okay, इतने बच्चे हैं तो contribution should be there. Okay. Okay. One more aspect which I would like it similarity होता है जिसमें हम evaluating relationships basically. Let me talk about what I mean by evaluating relationships. In maths, everything is related to each other. For example, just like let's say if I'm talking about triangle, so we know all the three sides, all the three angles, when we add, it will turn into 180. So there is a relationship between the three angles. Okay, they are not standing independently, अपने आप वो नहीं खड़े हैं, तो there is a relationship. In the same way, CR में भी एक relationship carry हो रहा होता है right from the argument to the conclusion. एक author एक बात रख रहा है जिसे वो argument बोल रहा है और वो उसी argument को straight away वो conclusion में ले जा रहा है और वो conclusion को use करने के लिए assumptions और premises को, premise मतलब fact, as simple as that. Okay, don't try to move into the difficult meaning of all these things. मैं simple आपको मोटा मोटा बता देता हूँ. आर्गुमेंट मतलब कोई भी बात करना या कोई भी चीज को हम प्रूव करना. एजम्पशन मतलब एजम्पशन, जो इंग्लिश में नॉर्मल एजम्पशन बोलते हैं उसी का मतलब एजम्पशन होता है. द थर्ड थिंग इज अ प्रेमिस. प्रेमिस मतलब फैक्ट. मैं जैसे कोई बात करते हुए बोलूँ आपको इंडिया पॉपुलेशन इज दिस और लिटरेसी इज दिस or the gender ratio is this, blah blah blah. So I am actually talking about facts. So the proof, I'm trying to reach some kind of a conclusion. और हर आर्ग्यूमेंट कंक्लूजन को रीच कर रहा होता है और वो कंक्लूजन को आप प्रूव कर रहे होते हैं कि वो सही है या गलत है. सो उसमें बेसिकली यू विल हैव ऑल काइंड ऑफ ए क्वेश्चन लाइक स्ट्रेंथनिंग, वीकनिंग, बोल्ड फेस, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. बट द होल थिंग गेम फिर भी एक ही है कि हम वो पूरे आर्ग्यूमेंट को हमने पार्ट्स में ब्रेक करना है और हर पार्ट को वी हैव टू यूज रूल्स और एनी लॉजिक टू सॉल्व इट. ओके, सो the fourth thing I would be, as I told you, would be looking at or evaluating the relationships between the different parts in any argument in CR or in equation or in numbers or numericals in maths. लेकिन ठीक है, एक बड़ा difference है. One of the student even was writing it. There is a very big difference between the maths and verbal, and that is maths is numbers and verbal is obviously English. Yeah, that is the difference. Actually, what I'm trying to talk about is a skill set. Okay, what I'm trying to reach here is how the two parts of the verbal needs a very opposite or very distinct or very different skill set from each other, and that's very very important for you to know. I'll tell you why it is important to know. Okay, now any other difference you can similarity you can talk about from maths and CR? इतने बच्चे हैं, so many intelligent people. So tell me, do you see any other similarity? So one more similarity I would be talking about is the attention to detail. Now, just like in maths, and I don't have to tell you that attention to detail, how much important is in maths. It's just a small एक नंबर्स का थोड़ा सा चेंज हो जाए या इवन सिंबल्स में you forget to put minus or plus and the whole thing goes haywire. In the same way, in the CR part, attention to detail is very much important. So all these five things which I talk about, the logical structure and the rules, the pattern recognition evaluating the relationship, relationship in analytical thinking, which you need in both, and attention to detail. These are the very big similarities between both the sections, which is the maths as well as the CR. One more aspect which I want to talk about is दोनों में एक fallacy use होता है. Fallacy मतलब होता है fallacy मतलब error in understanding. Okay. So what I am fallacies दोनों में एक बड़ा common fallacy या common error लोग करते हैं. So usually when you look at the maths, even in the CR, people actually do a very common mistake, and which we call it as affirming the consequent. Basically इसका मतलब क्या है, अब फिर वो थोड़ा सा heavy vocabulary use हो रहा है. So the word I am using, the fallacy actually name है उसका affirming the consequent. Okay. Actually the meaning मैं straight away बता देता हूँ. It will become much more logical and much more for every layman to understand. I think many of the people might be not knowing many things about the things. So I'll just put it some layman language. Affirming the consequent fallacy उसे बोलते हैं कि अगर एक कंडीशन में दूसरी कंडीशन ट्रू हो जाए तो हम एज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से इफ A is true, then if A happens, then B will happen. In the same way, we'll assume the vice versa even. I'll give an example to you I'll use maths example for you to understand it. Let's say there is a one condition I'm giving you. The x is greater than 5. So it's easy to understand, x is greater than 5. Actually, I'll even do some questions for you so that you understand total baat se I don't want to tell you. Even I will do some questions in CR to make you understand what exactly I'm saying to you. Right now, I'll just give a very small equation so that you can easily understand, even hearing it, and you can easily draw in your mind. So x is greater than 5. If x is greater than 5, then can I assume x square is greater than 25? Can I assume that? So bachcho, the question is, if I say that x is greater than 5, can I assume x square is greater than 25? Yes. So many people are answering, very good. Yes, so this condition seems to be true. Now I'm coming to the fallacy now, the affirming the consequent. इसमें क्या होता है कि we even assume कि vice versa भी true है. So the condition becomes, if x square is greater than 25, can I assume x is also greater than 5? So बच्चों, ये आपके लिए क्वेश्चन है. I'm repeating my question once again. If x square is greater than 25, can I assume that x is also greater than 5? So the answer is no. Reason being, a negative thing squaring will become the positive. So even let's say if I'm using minus 6 as a number, so minus 6 is not greater than 5, but when I squaring the minus 6, it will become 36, and that will become the x square is greater than 25, but x is not greater than 5. So this is called the fallacy in which we call it affirming the consequent, and the same common mistake is done in the CR. This fallacy in the CR actually is very common, okay, and most of the questions are based upon this fallacy. Now how many fallacies are there? N number of fallacies, okay. So leaving the fallacies for now. Now coming back to the main thing, what we are going to talk about. Now very important part of the whole discussion is, how is it important for you to know that these two things need a different skill set? Actually, it's important for you to know. Reason being, when I know what type of a skill set I need or what kind of a question the person is going to ask, it actually helps me a lot. I'll give an example to you. You all, I think, love cricket. India love cricket. So I'll give an example right from cricket. Okay, one of my favorite bowler he's retired now, so can I say his boss. So Anil Kumble I'm talking about. Now, let's say Anil Kumble had a very good career. Now, many of the people when we were used to analyze Anil Kumble, they always used to say that don't see him as a spinner, see him as a fast bowler. What exactly I'm saying? I'm just actually trying to reach to the point that how is it important for you to know what kind of a question is going to come or what kind of a ball is going to come. I'll give an example to you. Let's say any batsman, if there's a common strategy in when you do a batting, that if you are playing a pace bowler, what you will do is you will always try to play in the front foot. And when you are playing a spinner, you always tend to play a back foot. So the knowledge of that the ball is going to be a pace or a fast speed or a slow speed actually helps you a lot in playing that ball. So I'll give an example to you. I'm going to give you an example of Anil Kumble. Now Anil Kumble used to have a very short run up and he used to be called a leg break bowler or a spin bowler. But his balls usually had a pace of more than 100 kilometers per hour. Usually the spinners ball usually have a speed of close to around 70 to 80 to 90 kilometers per hour. Now, there is one tendency, one of the batsmen used to say, I will not take the name, that the best way to play Anil Kumble is to play him in the front foot and not in the back foot. The point that batsman was saying was that if I assume that he's a spinner, I usually tend to go on a back foot. And if I'm knowing that actually he's a much more a medium pace bowler, I'll always tend to have a front foot to play that ball. The same logic I'm applying in the point what I'm making. What I'm saying is, अगर आपको पता है कि what kind of a skill set or what kind of question is going to come, you will develop that kind of a understanding to it. I'll give an example to you. Just assume in your case, all the students, अगर आप maths test देने जा रहे हैं, तो don't you develop a kind of a understanding that what kind of a questions are going to come. I'm going to play with numbers, numericals or rules or logic or whatever. But when I'm going for a social studies test, let's say, or a English test or a Hindi test, I'm mentally prepared to handle that kind of a thing. So what I'm saying is, if you know what is the difference between these two type of questions, you will mentally prepare yourself in the same way. And not only that, even the teachers would be teaching you in the same way. So when I teach CR, I'll just say, consider it as a math section. Okay, it's a math section where more important thing is breaking into parts, and every part is logically related to each other. Now you may ask me why it is not in the RC. Even RC में भी हम main idea में paraphrase करते हैं, and every paragraph we put our points and everything relates to the main idea. Actually, there is a difference. In RC or in the verbal ability, not every element actually is a part of the logic. I'll give an example to you. I can there can be a passage in which the whole passage might be talking about something very different, or a tone, a different main idea would be in every paragraph of the passage. I meant to say, in one passage may talk about very different thing. The second passage may talk about the positivity of it. The third passage may talk about, the paragraph might talk about the negativity of it, and conclusion might be very different. So what I'm trying to say is, not everything will lie brick to brick. It will not be like a logic attached. Now in the CR, what will happen is everything would be logically attached linearly. I'll give an example to you. I'll take two questions for you so you understand my point. Okay, before moving into the questions, I think you are able to understand, अगर आपको ये पता है कि वो क्वेश्चन में क्या आने वाला है या क्वेश्चन में मुझे क्या स्किल सेट चाहिए, so it would be easier for me to prepare and it would be easier for teachers to teach. So take CR. Whenever you are reaching a CR question, think that it is just like a maths, just like quant question, and apply the same kind of skill set and logic to it. Break them into manageable parts and apply your logic and the things, logic and rules to solve it. Now I'll move into the questions now, and before moving to the questions, just a small thoda sa joke ho jaye, small joke, take it as a joke, okay? So I was talking about the fallacies. Fallacies matlab the error in understanding. Now in CR fallacies, I always say that I am not able to find any good teacher in telling fallacies. Even I don't teach fallacies much. You know what is the reason behind that? If you want to learn the fallacies in critical reasoning, look at the politician, how they talk. So take it as a joke, okay? I don't want this to be put in internet or anything, and the politicians going after me. I'm just putting a joke here. Look into the way politicians talk in any of the talks, the TV talks, show, and with all that, and there are so many politicians talking to each other and putting their logic and questions and everything. So you will see, what you will see is the all fallacies of critical reasoning. If you want to learn from there. Okay, no teachers can teach you fallacies better than our politician. Not our politician. When I say our politician, it means the world politician. I'm not talking about India politician only, okay? I'm talking about all the politicians. I'm going to say that is a skill set. In the reasoning part, if you want to learn fallacies, go to politician, look at the politician, the way they talk, and you will understand each and every fallacies, every type of reasoning error, how you can do. And this is skill set rather. I am not saying that they are doing an error. I am just trying to say how they are using the fallacies in reasoning to make their point. So have a look at them. Okay, so let me move into the questions now. Now let's look at both the questions here. So the first question is talking about the same. We are going to apply the same kind of logic which we were talking about in the earlier, that is the maths and the CR connection. Okay, let's look at one of the question here. Okay, so just follow the cursor. Okay, so the lot of the people at the Cochin port got ill from consuming local prawns. The authorities faced its signs against the eating of the prawns. It was revealed that the prawns were high in XYGD, a dangerous compound, but a marked decline in the number of starfish found at the beach has led to the removal of signs. Which of the following, if true, would best explain the removal of the signs? Okay, so before moving into the answer choices, we will have our answer prepared. Okay, just like in the previous sessions, I've already told you, in the verbal, if you want to move, it's better to have your answer before moving to the answer choices. So it would be better for you to forecast an answer, that what kind of an answer we are going to have. So we are going to apply the same kind of a linear logic which maths usually do. Just like in the maths, what we do is we break the whole thing into into small parts, and what we do is we use our logic and rules to solve it. The same thing we're going to do it here even. Okay, we just looking at the logic which it's talking about. Now we can easily see the logic here is the people are getting ill. Okay, I'm just using some of the alphabet so that you would be able to understand, and it is related to the eating of prawns. Okay, and this is related to high XY. I'm just writing the XY GD if you want the full thing to be written. So I can apply the whole thing into this kind of a linear relationship where I'm going to talk about the whole thing. I can put it into this relation, which is the people getting ill due to the prawns and due to the high XYGD. Now what this then says, the starfish going down and there was a removal of signs. So if starfish is going down, it should be related to the dangerous compound XYGD going down, obviously. So my answers should have this logic there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out the same kind of a logic in the answer choices. The first A part. Starfish found off Cochin causes prawns to excrete XYDG. In this way, the XYDG, if the starfish numbers increases, the XYDG will also increase. So the logic says no. The second part, the amount of XYDG produced by the individual starfish has a direct positive correlation with the density of the starfish population. That makes the real sense. That's what our logic says here. So it goes down, it should also go down. So a direct positive correlation we can talk about. So looking at that, this should be the answer, but we have to read every answer before reaching the final conclusion. C part, the starfish consume various parasites that often contain XYDG. No one is talking about it in the paragraph, so obviously this is out of scope. Cochin port is polluted, nothing to do with the passage. Starfish would not be able to inhabit the water of Cochin port. Those waters are not saturated with precise amounts of not related once more. So we have a clear answer. And why we are having a clear answer so easily? Reason being, we are putting whole argument into logical figures, logical relationship, just like maths. So try to see maths try to see critical reasoning with the lens of maths. Okay. Now a very easy question so that we should be able to complete it in 1 minute. A company claims its new energy drink improves athletic performance. A study found that the athletes who drank it ran faster than those who drank water. Okay. Therefore, the energy drink caused the improved performance. So, let's say अगर मैथ्स की तरह करें तो पहले इनको इस आर्गुमेंट को ब्रेक करते हैं पार्ट्स में. तो what is the conclusion if I ask you? What is the conclusion? This is a conclusion. The energy drink caused the improved performance. So this is a conclusion. Claims his new energy drink. A study found that the athletes who drank it ran faster than those who drank water. What we will call this point? Read from here to here and tell me what is this. What kind of a part in the argument this is playing? A study found that the athletes who drank it ran faster than those who drank water. This is a premise or a fact. So we have easily demarcated into a conclusion, premise and everything. So it would be very easy to answer. Now the point simply says which of the following weakens the conclusion. So weakening the conclusion. What is the conclusion here? The conclusion is the energy drink caused the improved performance. तो इस कंक्लूजन को वीकन कैसे किया जा सकता है? अगर हम कोई भी रीजन विद एक्सेप्ट द एनर्जी ड्रिंक बना पाए तो वो वीकन कर देगा. इफ आई से द इम्प्रूव परफॉर्मेंस इज ड्यू टू लेट्स से a food, let's say a energy food they have taken or energy bar they have taken. So this conclusion breaks. So what we are going to trying to find out is as per the logic, anything which gives a reason for the improved performance other than the energy drink. So let's read it out. The athletes who drank the energy drink trained more intensely than those who drank water. So it is giving a reason to you. Trained more intensely. So this becomes my answer. B part. The study was conducted over multiple days with consistent results. How it helps me? The energy drinks contains caffeine, a known stimulant. Very good if you have explained it, but how does it help me in weakening the conclusion? The athletes are randomly assigned to either the energy drink or the water group. I'm not concerned about it, how it is tested, how is it randomly assigned and all. So what I'm saying is, just looking at the critical reasoning with the lens of maths lens se use karo, it would be the accuracy would go very high. Try to break the whole argument into different parts and then use the rules and logic for it. Chaliye, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks everyone. So many people join in the live session, and that's very, very motivating for me to see and motivating for each and every teacher. Okay, thanks for joining. Bye bye.